Maybe I wasn't meant to be a mom. I don't know. I love my kids, but right now I'm doing what I gotta do for them, so that makes me a bad mom. Hey. It's a bad mom. But at the end of the day, do I have any charges on me? No, I don't. My kids have never been taken away from me, thank God. My kids have never been taken away from me. I didn't do nothing to your dad. My ex-husband did that, not me. And then my kids' room, but they don't stay with me right now. And then my restroom. I mean, growing up, I was always visiting prisons because my dad's best friend was in prison. And that's the only type of area that I really knew. And then, like, dating people in prison was all I wanted.
Ashley Nicole Trevino was an internet star who rose to fame in 2019 by posting about her personal relationships on social media. But what really catapulted her follower count was when she started creating content that framed her as a prison wife. This was a niche so distinctive that it drew millions of viewers on TikTok. Her one-of-a-kind content, which she tagged as Inmate Hopper, in which she shared details of her relationships with men in prison, helped her gain more followers. She would typically show what life was like as a prisoner's wife, how she dealt with long-distance relationships, and how they made things work. But everything soon came crashing down when people started to realize that maybe she was just a weird one. After all, she has managed to be married and divorced many times with men in prison. However, this was not particularly a surprise. Ash Trevino was already famous for being a bad mother. She failed to provide her children with basic needs, exposed them to indecent content, and even consumed alcohol live on stream while they were present. By 2024, Ash Trevino already had over 20 cases with Child Protective Services. While all this was going on, and it became clear that her followers at this point were basically just haters, she was arrested in Venus, Texas, on 2 felony counts. Things got even worse when people started to question whether she was actually more shady than they thought, after a later incident in 2025 showed that her crew was arrested for unlawful carry of weapons. In addition, one of her associates, D. Kane, whose real name is Josiah Kane de la Fuente, was arrested after an incident at a restaurant, according to the San Antonio Police Department. Other individuals who were seen with her were also arrested. Trevino has said she paid to bond them out of jail. The aggregate of all of these is that Ash Trevino is nothing but a lol cow, and in this video, we will detail her journey and how she fell from grace so quickly. There is no Ash Trevino story though without first starting with her early marriage. Born on January 17, 1989 in Texas, Ashley graduated from high school in 2007 and then married her high school sweetheart, Israel Grez, who fathered her 2 daughters. Around this time, she built a healthy social media presence, posting photos of her kids, selfies, and her struggles as a mother. Her Instagram from that era was made up of family photos, Snapchat selfies, and the occasional rant about Israel, particularly when it came to co-parenting, child support, and the time he allegedly spent with the kids. People could relate to all of this because it was the kind of raw, messy, real-life struggle that people actually saw themselves in, and the personal growth that came with it was something others could celebrate. Ash separated from Grez in 2015, with the divorce finalizing in June 2017, making her a single mother of 2 at just 27 years old. During this period, she began posting quotes suggesting the relationship was over and that Grez was a cheater. If you believed what she said, Israel had gone behind her back and started a whole new family with another woman while they were still married. In her next Instagram post, while posting the customary quote, she wrote, "So true, good luck to them both." The divorce was clearly painful for her. She posted a pouty selfie, writing that it was a bittersweet moment, said goodbye to the last name she had carried, and seemed to be processing the end of the only relationship she had known since she was a teenager. And now, she was going to be focusing on herself, saying, "Gonna do me from now on and focus on what's important." However, that sympathy dries up fast once you start looking at what came next, because instead of processing her grief in therapy or through her support system, Ash went an entirely different route, one that would eventually define her entire public identity. And before the divorce was even finalized, she had already met the man who would become her next serious partner, getting a tattoo of a new boyfriend's initials on her arm within 6 months of dating him. That relationship lasted 18 months. Ash did not do well alone, and she seemed to sprint from one relationship to the next with barely any time to breathe in between. By August of 2019, she was about to make a decision that would define everything that followed. Setting things on a very specific, weird course, Ash Trevino entered a strange new era of her life when she started dating prison inmates, and she did not just dip her toe in. She dove headfirst and kept going back for more.
Hey, yo, you not paying attention?
What?
What,
What, Eli? What?
focus on me. You treat me like the side piece, like I'm Carlos or something.
I can't focus on you whenever your gift gallery is a C5 level. I'm A1, baby.
In August of 2019, she announced her engagement to Isaiah Gonzalez, a man who was serving 45 years in prison for his role in the robbery in Mohammed Hashimi, a gas station owner and father of 7 who was on April 18, 2010. Isaiah was just 15 years old when he helped plan and execute the robbery with 3 others, trapping Hashimi on the road, stealing the cash he was taking to the bank. According to the victim's daughter, he drove while her dad was in the car. When Ash reacted to some of Isaiah's crimes, she showed an attitude of not caring. After all, she was not the one who committed the crime.
I didn't do nothing to your dad. My ex-husband did that, not me. So Isaiah did it on accident too. He didn't mean to your dad. Isaiah didn't mean to your dad. That was an accident. Bro, don't come with me when it comes to Isaiah. Don't come at me when it comes to Isaiah. Isaiah was my first love and will always be my love. Literally, justice for Isaiah.
Ash, however, posted about him as if he were a prize. She wrote on Instagram that people would judge them, but she did not care, that he was hers, and she was his, and that she could not wait to become Mrs. Gonzalez. As though it were a custom for her, she also got a tattoo after marrying him. "You all finally got my tattoos I have been wanting! Our last name and our wedding date." This was also the moment she began taking her daughters, who were just 10 and 8 years old at the time, on regular prison visits to see their incarcerated new stepfather, and referring to him in Instagram captions as a daddy. "We had a great visit today and so blessed that both our girls were able to go see daddy. You can see the happiness on his face. Our first family picture. Only one more glass visit. Then he gets to hug us all." This was a man who had helped another girl's father just 9 years prior. In a caption of one of the prison photos, she wrote, "Today we had the best visit with my husband and our daddy. It's always hard leaving him behind. Love all the time we get him and his smile says it all. Just a daddy and his baby girl. It's sad when she runs back for one more hug before we leave. But their bond is unbreakable." What made the situation even more alarming was a 2020 Instagram post in which Ash openly admitted she had known Isaiah since he was 12, writing that he was sitting on the front bench at her church during her senior party in 2007 when she was 18. She also confirmed in a video that she had visited him in juvenile detention when he was first incarcerated at 15, gave him her parents' address so they could write letters, and had been in some form of contact with him long before their public engagement.
I knew of him because I came to our church when he was 9. I was 15. We didn't do nothing. We had no kind of communication like that or nothing. When he got locked up, I cried because he was only 15. Well, me and one of his friends, with his mom's permission, went to go visit him. And I left the kids with my parents. It was behind the TV because you had to pick up a phone and it was a screen. And so I was just like, "Hey, how are you doing?" You know, and he's like, I'm good. He's like, "I want to write you." I said, "Okay, well, here's my parents' address." He wrote me to my parents' house. I still have the letters to this day.
When asked about the obvious age gap in the timeline, Ash shrugged it off, saying they had lost contact for 9 years. But by her own math, she had been in contact with him for the first year he was locked up, which means she was exchanging letters with a 15-year-old suspect while she was a married 21-year-old. The marriage lasted about 18 months before she casually announced the divorce in October 2020, citing problems in their relationship. By then, she had already gotten multiple tattoos of his name and their wedding date. After Isaiah came Noe Trevino, another convicted this one sentenced to 25 years for stabbing Lewis Maston, a 49-year-old grandfather who had simply tried to break up a fight outside a Texas nightclub in 2015. Ash married Noe in April 2022, and by June 2024, she was already announcing she was going to divorce him without needing his permission. She kept his last name because, as she said, it had become part of her brand.
Period. We're about to be divorced. I'm about to cry. I'm about to cry. Just kidding.
Then there was Jesse Martinez, a man Ash described as having a charge of injury to a rather than cruelty, as if the rebranding made it acceptable.
"Yo, what's up? How you doing though? What's up? How you doing? What's
I don't have
good?
time for you.
What's good?"
I don't have time for you right now.
She celebrated Jesse's prison release in May 2024 by decorating a hotel room and live streaming their entire first night together on TikTok, telling the audience of thousands that they had a baby to make.
What does it say? What does it say? AJ, look at the basket. Welcome, Jesse. Be good to her, please. Oh.
Their relationship was filled with toxicity and relationship dramas, and people started to suggest that maybe she was doing everything for show. There was one time he wanted to invite him over, but then her chat informed her he had been using her to chase clout, so she opted not to invite him over anymore.
Okay. Yeah, he's coming to Texas and he wants to link up just for a bit. I shouldn't because he did me so dirty, but he is still my ex and my friend. And so I'm not a mean person and he needs to wash his clothes. So
Their in-person relationship lasted just 2 weeks before Ash announced a breakup, blaming the flood of women in his DMs once she gave him a cheap phone and let him have social media. The The irony of someone who built a brand on strangers' attention, complaining about others wanting attention, was completely lost on her.
There was another reason why we broke up, but I don't want to speak on that on here. But yeah, so he let TikTok get to him, and a lot of females were in his inbox. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to trust him. I wish him the best, and like I said, I will never bring nobody else home from prison, because that one right there, like I say, it hurts. When I say it hurts, it hurt. Now he's living his life, you know. I see him on my FYP here and there with his girlfriend, and I just scroll up, you know, because it's like I said, the memories are still there. They're always going to be there.
The most disturbing chapter of the inmate era came when she started streaming her phone calls with Francisco Montero, a man who had been convicted of 2 girls, 19-year-old Ivana Cortez and her sister Elizabeth Juarez, on March 28, 2018.
Guys, look what my boyfriend sent me.
A clip soon surfaced on TikTok that suggested that Francisco's wife knew of what Francisco had done.
You have a good day. Okay, I'm gonna. Where you going? I'm gonna go to bed. Yeah, I'll do what you need to do, and there's no point in talking. We're not together. I don't want to talk to you right now. Yeah, we are. I don't want to talk to you right now.
We're together.
No, baby, we're not.
Ash, on the other hand, sat on her live stream and actually laughed out loud when someone in the comments said the victims deserved rest in peace. She also tried to convince people that Francisco was totally innocent.
Because you can't sit there and say he did it if he didn't do it. So you don't know for sure if he did it or he didn't do it. And everybody was like, oh, he did it, he did it, he did it, he did it. Have you read the story?
When confronted about the fact that he had 2 teenage girls around the same age as her own daughters, Ash shrugged and instead tried to justify Francisco's actions.
As people would come in here and spam, rip to so-and-so, and put their names, and mind you, this is my life. This is my stuff. I don't want the victims' names on my stuff, ever. I wasn't there when that happened. That was like, what, 3 years ago? 5 years ago? I don't even remember what year it was.
Many failed to understand why Ash Trevino sought out men like that, and the fact that she was comfortable with a man such as Francisco says a lot about her. One of the commenters on the TikTok post says, "He's a murderer of 2 young girls. You all need to focus on that. Ash is sicker than I thought. Wow, the fact she's so desperate to talk to people who do stuff like that is disturbing." Their relationship ended not because he was a triple murderer with an ongoing drug trafficking case, but because he was married to another woman in the system, and Ash found out. Meanwhile, it did not take long for her to move on, saying she already had another guy in her corner shortly after she broke up with Francisco, not because of his crimes, but because she was getting hated on social media.
I blocked Francisco for good.
Okay, then that's one good thing.
I was tired of getting all the hate from the people, you know, in the comments or whatever. Like, I'm really not a bad person, but
we need a new boo. Is there a new boo in the works? Because we don't, on to the next, okay? On to the next.
There is.
She later explained her preference to Perez Hilton, who interviewed her to understand why she dated inmates.
I've always been with inmates since 2019.
Why? What would a psychologist say is the reasoning behind that?
To be honest, growing up, I was always visiting prisons because my dad's best friend was in prison. And that's the only type of area that I really knew. And then, like, dating people in prison was all I wanted.
Really?
Next, she moved on to dating Cash, a rapper serving a 6-month prison sentence for theft. And that was the moment she started listening to his music a lot. Her relationship with Cash unveiled the amount of money Ash had been spending on her inmate boyfriends, as Cash came forward after his release and said that Ash had funneled approximately $40,000 to him over 90 to 120 days, sending money to his family, buying him clothes, and funding his commissary, all while he admitted on camera that he was never actually attracted to her and had been using her the entire time. But of course, Ash denied all of this.
Mind you, I've never sent him $40,000. I would never send him more than I ever sent Isaiah. He got great, okay? In prison.
This was very strange because, as we would later see, Ash was barely taking proper care of her children. There was also this time she confirmed he had spent more than $10,000 on an inmate she was dating.
Literally in 1 year, for my ex-husband, the one that I'm talking about right now that I got married to in 2019, because I just loved him so much, I literally spent $10,000 in 1 year on him. Like, not even a full year, because we weren't together, like, married a full year. But, like, from the time that I did start spending money on him, I literally... Plus, I left him with a couple thousand on his books when we separated. Because I promised him I wouldn't leave him without.
But Ash's behavior with inmates was really just the gateway to a much longer list of problems. Because while all of this was going on, there were 2 children at home watching their mother pour everything she had into men who were using her. The controversies surrounding Ash Trevino are not limited to her dating life. Some of them crossed into territory that had nothing to do with her taste in men and everything to do with her character. There was a time when she dated a 19-year-old named Santos, a content creator and club promoter based in North Texas. And the reason this became so explosive is that she had only found out about Santos because her own daughter had shown her his account as her internet crush. Rather than giving her daughter a normal mom reaction, Ash immediately slid into Santos's DMs, started going live with him, openly flirted with him, asked if she could taste things she should not be asking a stranger on a live stream, and eventually released a song called Nunu, which described their chemistry and lyrics. The song also contained lyrics that included asking Santos how her private parts smelled, and his supposed answer being that they smelled well.
You wanna know how it smells? Ask Santos. He know it smell well.
They had previously made a video in which Ash asked Santos how her Nunu felt.
How does that feel? Just kidding.
Yo,
It's just I love it.
When Santos showed up at her house in December 2024, and the police were called due to the volume of viewer reports, officers confirmed on stream that Santos was not 22, as he had been claiming. He was 19 years old, the exact same age Ash had been when she gave birth to her first daughter. Ash's immediate response to learning that her boyfriend was 19 was neither shock nor concern. She simply looked at the officer and said, "But he's not drinking."
Ashley,
Yes.
just so you know, this gentleman is 19 years old. Okay? So
But he's not drinking.
I had a reason to be here.
Yeah.
Okay?
That sentence tells you everything you need to know about where her moral compass is pointed. Ash later claimed she was not a and had no idea Santos was 19, despite a slip mid-explanation, in which she said she always thought he was 20, immediately corrected herself to 24, and had previously admitted she had seen his ID showing the year 2000.
I've never been with nobody under the age of 18, so do not call me a I'm not. Santos, I never knew Santos was 19. He showed me his military ID that said 2000. I never knew he was actually 19. I always thought he was 24.
Her daughter had watched all of this play out in public. The same daughter whose internet crush her mother had stolen was now watching her mom live stream with him. Further, Ash made a video justifying his relationship with Santos.
Because I'm tired of people saying, like, you're 35, he's 19. Okay, but at the end of the day, like, I'm a female and he's a male. Like, there's a difference, too, on that. When you have power over somebody, you want to blame the female so much, and the female always gets blamed for everything. But what about the guy? What about the guy who has money and has everything handed to them? Why don't they get any blame? But because I'm older, right?
When she appeared on Camila Ahu's podcast, and the topic of Santos's age came up, she let out a loud, hysterical laugh as though there was absolutely nothing wrong with everything that was going on.
Santos, he actually lied about his age. He said he was 22, but he's actually 19.
Then when confronted about the whole thing on the Camila Ahu podcast, Ash admitted to sleeping with Santos on 2 separate occasions, then immediately followed it up by saying that if someone is over 18, their age does not really matter to her, which is a sentence that reveals more than she intended it to. The most incredible thing about this whole relationship was that Santos never felt the same way towards Ash as she did. When he later appeared on the same podcast and said he had only ever got together with Ash because he was trying to troll her.
What happened? What truly happened in that situation? How did that end up happening?
I was just being the troll I am, you know, and you know I'm a little flirty sometimes. So.
Okay, so you were flirting with Ash Trevino.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What, as trolling.
Yeah, I was. You know.
So is that something you normally do? You just flirt with random people in your lives?
Nah, not really like that, but it's just like I improvise from what I just match energies.
Okay.
He also said that the craziest DM he had ever received was a picture of Ash's Nunu.
What's the craziest DM you've ever received?
Oh my gosh.
Are there a lot of them that you're thinking about?
I just Miss Nunu.
Oh, okay.
Miss Nunu showed me the Nunu. I need water.
On DM?
Beyond that subtle tendency, there was also racism, which she did not try particularly hard to hide. She once made a video complaining that her dental office had been sold to Indian owners, stating bluntly that she was not going to work under any Indians, and that she had chosen to leave because of that.
I worked every day, Monday through Thursday. Then they changed the owners, and I knew it was going to happen. Then we got Indian owners. Yes, I said that. I was mad at my doctor for selling, okay? I cried almost every day that I was at that job because I did not like it.
The most jarring example came in February 2025, when she got into a confrontation with Zara Hashimi, one of the daughters of Muhammad Hashimi, the very man her first prison husband had helped. Ash told Zara on stream that her dad deserved everything he got, and then brought up the September 11th attacks in a rant so racist and unhinged that her own daughter came into the room and begged her to turn the stream off. She muted the microphone, told her daughter to leave the room, and then kept going. The audacity of mocking the victim's grieving daughter on a public platform in front of tens of thousands of viewers while your own children are in the house is something that would end most people's careers before they even started. For Ash, it was just another Tuesday. And what drove all of this was something even darker that had been visible the whole time, but people were only just starting to fully connect with it. It did not take long for Ash Trevino to earn a reputation as a bad mother. The clips accumulated fast, and each one was worse than the last. There was a time when people noticed that her daughters were sleeping on a single air mattress on the floor in a barely furnished room, even though Ash was constantly on live stream unboxing Balenciaga slippers, Louis Vuitton bags, and a BMW, bragging that $3,000 was like dirt to her.
Classy, you know?
And then my kids' room, but they don't stay with me right now. And then my restroom, and then my room.
She would also often ignore her children, who would ask her for food and other necessities, just so she could fight with people online. She would sometimes cook only for herself and lie that her daughters did not eat that kind of food.
I cook for only me because my daughters don't eat this kind of food, you know? So it's like I cook a lot, bro. Like, it's not even right, bro.
Meanwhile, she had been making somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a day on TikTok live streams and gifts alone, and by her own account had made $12,000 in a single 2.5-hour stream. None of that money went toward beds for her teenagers.
The most I've ever made on TikTok live was $12,000.
In one sitting?
Yes.
In one live?
Yes.
How many hours?
Like 2.5.
You made 12 grand in 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
That Louis bagging fake, y'all. And her kids still don't have a bed. So what's that funny? Yeah, that's funny. Nothing's that funny when your kids don't have a damn bed. I'll tell you that right now.
Camilla pointed this out, and get this. Ash laughed when she called her out for refusing to provide basic amenities to her children. When people called this out, Ash gave a different excuse every time. She said the girls were usually at their grandparents'. She said she was going to get them beds for Christmas. She said she did not know whether to get bunk beds or one shared bed. She said she was working on it. When Camilla Aho, a content creator who flew Ash and her daughters out to Los Angeles for a podcast interview, offered on camera to buy the girls' beds before they left, Ash's daughter confirmed on the spot that she did not have a bed at her mother's house. Ash started giggling.
Do you have beds?
Well, I don't live with my mom.
But at your mom's house?
No.
Camilla reportedly sent Ash $3,000 via Apple Pay and specifically asked her to send the links to the furniture the girls wanted.
I'm going to give you money for, I want a bed, 2 mattresses, 2 of them. I want a headboard and 2 nightstands. I'm going to order that before you leave this house today. And I'm going to insert the clip of the receipt.
By February, the daughters confirmed on the podcast that the promised beds had never arrived. Ash then went on live to say she didn't want Camilla to buy the bed for her daughters.
Like right now, she did ask me, did your kids pick out the bed set? I said, I don't want you to buy it. I said, there's too much going on. I don't need you to buy it. I said, they're already saying that I did CC fraud on your card. I don't want nothing to do with that.
She did not cook for her children. She would order them food or tell them to use her card for DoorDash, which she framed as generous, as though removing herself entirely from feeding your own children is a parenting flex. Moreover, she often filmed her conflict scenes while the children were in the house, thereby exposing them to violence. She also would consume alcohol on stream, despite being the sole caregiver of her children. She herself even admitted that she did not care about her children during this period.
Some think that you're a bad mother. How does that make you feel?
It makes me sad, but because, I mean, I see where they're coming from, because last year was one of my crazy years. And so I really didn't care about my kids' feelings, and I was living the single life. I was, trying to cover it up with drinking all the time, partying all the time, so of course.
In one clip, she was dancing around the room to the new song when her daughter called out that she had just thrown up. Ash turned around, accused her daughter of lying, and went back to dancing.
Mama just threw up.
You just threw up? Why?
Mama just threw up.
You're lying.
Let me throw up.
It smell like it or what? I'm just kidding.
Mama just threw up. Why are you dancing? Mom, I threw up. Why are you dancing? She's dancing? Yes.
In another clip, her younger daughter had a burn bad enough that a friend on the phone with Ash told her to take the child to urgent care immediately. Ash's response was that she had to get up early the next day, so she wouldn't be able to get an Uber.
Ash. Yes.
I really think you should take her to urgent care if it is bad.
Then I'm gonna have to get a freaking Uber.
Okay. I mean, just because you have to get an Uber doesn't mean you shouldn't take her to the urgent care.
I know, but I have to get up early.
One of the commenters said she was refusing to take them to the hospital because it might trigger a CPS report. She doesn't want to take her to urgent care because it will trigger mandated reporters to call CPS. When her daughter was sick and needed to go to the hospital, Ash stayed home, told her audience she was also feeling unwell, and sent her mother to take the child instead. She then went live to explain why she could not be there. She also once told her live stream that if she found out one of her daughters had lied about her age to sleep with an older man, she would not call the police, because she had done the same thing at that age and understood the impulse. Ash admitted to her eldest daughter, Haley, not as an act of discipline, but because she was jealous of the attention Israel gave his own child over his wife. She said it with the same casual energy you would use to describe forgetting to buy milk.
I was so mad at her. Like, I feel like he loved her more than he loved me, and so, like, I took my anger out on her. Like, she doesn't even remember that.
You felt like you were wrong?
I was a young mom.
At one point, while discussing the situation later, she clarified that she had not daughter because she never left bruises. That was her bar for acceptable parenting. Her approach to parenting also included keeping her adult toy charging in plain sight in the living area, and when her daughter picked it up and asked what it was, Ash asked the live stream audience what they should name it, with her daughter still in the room. She filmed herself in a bar kissing a man with tongue while her daughter sat nearby, unable to do anything about it. She streamed herself in bed with another man in a way that left thousands of viewers uncomfortable, with her daughters potentially watching from another room. She doxed her own home address on stream, inviting people to come fight her, and then acted shocked when a woman actually showed up to her house, at which point the daughters were inside and Ash called her father for help. When it got unbearable, she had to call the police.
My name is Ashley Trevino.
Ashley, your date of birth?
1/17/89.
I can go and notify the police, okay? If anything like this, go ahead and give us a call back, okay?
Okay, thank you.
We're an officer dispatched out there as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
The Thanksgiving 2024 incident summarized everything. She drove her daughters 8 hours to El Paso to stay with a woman she had met on TikTok, told them to order DoorDash while she went bar hopping, got into a physical altercation with another TikToker, drank and drove after streaming in a bar, doxed her friend's home address live on stream, and then had to watch a domestic incident play out in front of her children after the friends showed up at the house.
Yeah, I know.
You know what?
It's not your fault.
See it. The girls got to see it. I have witnesses now.
He literally pushed her in her face. I seen it.
What really shocked people was the fact that she had no problem with her daughter witnessing what had just happened. Someone said, "The girls got to see it, like it's a treasured moment." Kids seeing DV is the last thing you want them around. Her younger daughter was sick with a fever by the time they got back. Ash was still live streaming, she was standing at the kitchen counter eating fries, and it's crazy because all her antics so far have negatively affected her daughter's lives. On the Camila Aho podcast, her eldest daughter Haley said that she had lost friends because of her mother's live streams, that other kids' parents did not feel comfortable sending their children to her house because the address had been leaked online, and that she would rather go back to her old life before any of this happened.
Next question. How do you handle discussions with friends who are aware of your mother's online persona? Because I know that ain't easy.
Yeah, so when they found out about my mom, some people didn't like it, obviously. And one of my friends...
She said obviously.
Ash's response to her daughter saying that publicly on camera was to suggest that the other kids were just jealous of the lifestyle she provided. By early 2025, her eldest daughter had moved into her grandparents' home permanently. Ash explained this by saying Haley was spoiled and that raising teenagers was hard.
And then me and the girls are just gonna clean up and chill. Well, they're not gonna clean. I'm gonna clean. Let's actually put that out there. My kids don't clean. Y'all think I'm so mean to them? My kids don't do nothing. I wish they did. They're so spoiled. They're so spoiled, you guys.
And then there was the time she missed her youngest daughter's birthday entirely because she had a photo shoot and a divorce party scheduled that weekend, telling her audience she just could not reschedule. She later cried about how sad she was to leave, and then, in the same breath, said she only went to Haley's last birthday because it was her sweet 16, implying that other birthdays were optional. Apparently, her youngest daughter's birthday was not worth canceling for. It was not surprising then, when she picked up her camera and confessed on a live stream that the responsibility of being a mother was just too hard for her to handle, which is perhaps the most honest thing she has ever said publicly.
Maybe I wasn't meant to be a mom, I don't know. I love my kids, but right now I'm doing what I gotta do for them, so that makes me a bad mom. Hey.
What was building in the background through all of this was something that even the CPS system could not completely ignore forever, and that chapter was the one that finally started to draw real consequences. All of Ash Trevino's behavior on and off camera eventually produced a paper trail, and a long one at that. By late 2024, Ash had accumulated over 20 open CPS cases against her, most of them generated by viewers who had watched her live streams and reported what they saw. She treated this number like a trophy, regularly bringing it up to prove that nothing had happened to her.
She's a bad mom, but at the end of the day, do I have any charges on me? No, I don't. My kids have never been taken away from me, thank God. My kids have never been taken away from me. My kids have always been with me, and a lot of y'all spread rumors and say that CPS took my kids from me. Baby, CPS has never taken my kids. Yes, I've had like 20 CPS cases. They dismissed them all. Because you know why? My kids are in good hands. My kids are taken care of. My kids do not need, they don't want for nothing.
Rather than expressing any concern about having 24 child welfare investigations opened against her, she would mock the people who called CPS, reminding them that they needed actual proof, as if the body camera footage of her own live streams did not constitute exactly that.
Like, you do understand when you call CPS, you have to have actual proof that they're in an unfit condition, right? Like, you really have to have proof that my kids are really being not taken care of. You do understand that, right? For those of y'all that love to call CPS on me, y'all do understand. You have to have proof.
CPS had already been to the house so many times that Ash's parents, who lived down the street, had begun to be investigated alongside her, because the children were being kept with the grandparents to keep them out of the line of fire. Then came the San Antonio incident in January 2025, which made everything worse. Ash traveled to San Antonio for a meetup with her streaming group, including Santos, Brianna Olsen, and a content creator named DK, who was on probation. The group got kicked out of a steakhouse, was refused entry at multiple establishments because most of them were under 21, and ended up at the Rainforest Cafe, where someone showed up to confront Ash after tracking her location from her livestream. When the police arrived at the Rainforest Cafe, they found that multiple members of the group were armed, and DK was arrested for having a firearm while on probation, a violation that could potentially result in life in prison under Texas law. What Ash said next was the part that shocked even the people who thought they had seen everything from her. She admitted on a live stream that she had asked both Brianna and another person in the group to claim her bag as their own because the bag allegedly contained a firearm, and she did not want a gun charge to jeopardize her open CPS case. She framed it as a test of friendship, saying that she had an open CPS case and could not afford to go to jail, so she asked them to take the blame. When neither of them agreed to do it, she turned around and called them fake friends.
Like Bree and Violet, I was like, if y'all take the blame for my bag, will y'all please, I'll bail y'all out. They were like, no, I got custody battles going on. No, I got custody battles going on. I said, well, I have an open CPS case on me. And I was like, if I go to jail, like, I can literally lose my kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I have a custody battle going on. But look at them now. And that's how I knew they were not true friends. And ever since that day is whenever I said I'm cutting ties with them.
Then on December 17th, 2024, officers from the Venus Police Department, who already knew her address, approached her in her front yard and arrested her on 2 felony warrants that had apparently been active since 2019. She was charged with healthcare fraud between $2,500 and $30,000, and with securing the execution of a document by deception in the same dollar range. Both state jail felonies under Texas law, each carrying up to 2 years in a state jail facility. The charges were tied to her years working as a receptionist at a dental office in Arlington, Texas, a job she had held for nearly 7 years, and did not leave until the December 23rd, 2024, which means the office continued employing her for 5 years after the conduct she was charged for allegedly took place. She was only in a holding cell for about 14 hours before bonding out, and she was back on her phone live streaming her experience almost immediately afterwards, describing how the arrest went down.
Anyways, they came 3 deep, and I go over there, not realizing anything, because I didn't know anything. And he was like, do you know you have an active warrant? I said, or a felony warrant? I said, a warrant for what? I haven't done nothing. He's like, I don't know. I don't have no info on that. It's out of Waxahachie. And I'm like, I started thinking in my head, like, what did I do fraud on? Like, when he told me fraud, I'm like thinking, like, an active felony warrant on fraud for what? Like, I literally was thinking, like, what the hell? I haven't worked in a year. So I'm like, are you sure you got the right person? I gave him 2 of my names that I have. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, he goes, well, let me get it confirmed. They didn't even have it confirmed.
Then she talked about the jail toilet as disgusting, complaining that they tried to give her a peanut butter sandwich and saying she was blowing up on TikTok and wanted to do interviews. The first thing she said on camera after being released was that she looked cute in the handcuffs. The second thing she said was that haters were preying on her downfall and she was going to fight the charges. The third thing she said was that she was going to the casino next week and needed to confirm whether she was allowed to travel out of state. By early 2025, Ash Trevino had 2 felony charges pending: a CPS record with over 20 cases attached to her name, a daughter who had moved out of her home, a son of her former friend potentially facing a life sentence connected to a night she organized, and a fan base that was carefully watching to see what her next move would be. She announced a pregnancy in April last year as the final act of attention-seeking in this particular chapter, posting a positive test in an ultrasound with the first name listed first, when every real ultrasound lists the last name first. Now people simply watch Ash Trevino's videos just to have a laugh. She is different from the woman many people originally clicked on, the relatable struggling single mom trying to figure out life after divorce. Instead, she chased internet fame, fell headfirst into everything that followed, and is still falling. After her arrest, she would later come on live to say that sometimes everything she did was for show.
I live my best life, and to be honest, I have a very amazing family, and I'm blessed, you know. And so that's why I'm saying, like, what y'all see on the internet is not actually who you know out here, because that's not who I am as a person. You know, I have respect and all that. But like I said, sometimes I gotta give y'all a show and make y'all believe that I'm just this evil person, this bad mom, this bad friend, you know, all that. When in reality, I'm not. I'm a really good, humble person, actually. And another thing, my window's fixed and my door's painted. So, like I said, when you're able to fix it right away because, you know, I'm blessed, I can do that, I do it.
Now, people simply watch Ash Trevino's videos just to have a laugh. That is why you would find her videos have an insane amount of comments, but they are mostly just trolls or negative ones, such as this. She's so unfunny that it's funny. She is different from that woman. Many people clicked on her content because they could relate to it. Instead, she tried to chase internet fame, but fell into things that quickly took a dark turn for her. Kaylee G, real name April Rogers, a 32-year-old TikTok mom with over 700,000 followers across her platforms. But Kaylee isn't the average internet mom because she has done things that would make Mother Gothel's parenting style seem acceptable. Kaylee G turned her own daughter into content and practically inflicted generational emotional damage on her kids.
And y'all, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I wonder how Autumn be feeling, because when I read the note, I don't go to her and be like, thank you, hug, or I be like, Autumn, I got your note.
She became one of the most talked about figures on Black TikTok, and not always for the right reasons. Kaylee sent her daughter Autumn to CPS custody while broadcasting live.
I called CPS before I went to jail. I voluntarily gave up. I'm done with it. Done.
Her boyfriend slept in her daughter's bed, and instead of leaving him, she tried to talk her way out of it on camera.
What did he do? He slept where? He slept on top of the cover, but when I went to sleep, John was in who bed? Mine's, right?
Kaylee would let you question a lot of things about motherhood. For instance, why would a mother admit, with a smile on her face, that she had lied about her children's school grades just to get engagement?
I lied to y'all. Y'all did what I needed y'all to do. And thank y'all, and that's it.
Kaylee is the perfect example of a strange and problematic mother, and as if that's not terrible enough, she has gone to jail more than once while her kids were home. Who is Kaylee G? Why is she on the list of the internet's most degenerate moms? Keep watching as we unravel everything you need to know about this infamous mother. April Rogers, known online as Kaylee G or KG, is a mother from Memphis, Tennessee, and the controversy surrounding her name stemmed exactly from her status of motherhood. She has 3 kids, going to 4, and her oldest daughter Autumn is one major character in her story by the time Kaylee's TikTok page had real traction. She was in an on and off relationship with a man named Johnny, real name John Figi, and known on TikTok as Johnny Bladas. The issue with John is the most recent controversy surrounding Kaylee G. Johnny entered Kaylee's life and very quickly became the dominant subject of her content. He is a barber from Chattanooga, Tennessee, with 3 baby mothers and 5 children. When Kaylee started talking about him publicly, she was open about loving him. She took him on dates that she broadcast live, and she also blended their families together. She shared stories about their time together and how he would spend on her. But shortly after, allegations about John started surfacing from Kaylee herself. She went on live and began detailing that John had been exposed years before their relationship for being on the down low, which is a term used to describe closeted men who secretly sleep with other men while presenting as straight to the women in their lives.
John was exposed 4 years ago in his city, which is Chattanooga, Tennessee. I ain't never been in Chattanooga, Tennessee a day in my life. I really never even knew Chattanooga exists until I met John. Swear to God. Don't fight me about it, but it's the truth. Defending him the whole time.
If you couldn't make out what she said in that clip, here's a brief explanation. Kaylee claimed that she did not know about his closeted self because she was from Memphis, and the situation had played out entirely in Chattanooga. She had only found evidence in the form of text messages and a photo. John had tried to convince her that he was straight, even at the expense of their relationship, but Kaylee didn't buy it.
He sent me a long text like, yeah, I wanted to work it out. I do love you. He started telling me I'm different than other females. I'm a certain caliber of a woman. But I just don't feel like it's going to work if you really believe that you believe these things about me. So he said he didn't want to do it. And I was fine with it.
Then while the drama was still unfolding, she came online to demonstrate how it happened.
Bro, I've never done anything, bro. Like, all I want to do is just be a family, bro. For real, they just... That was him, y'all down there, anyways.
Mind you, as she laid out everything on camera in front of her live audience, she was also pregnant with his child. Kaylee also revealed records of John talking to children in his TikTok inboxes.
Just go back to your inbox real quick so they can see. Hold on. Scroll on down, scroll on down. This a kid, bro.
The drama escalated to a point of no return when Autumn, Kaylee Egg's 12-year-old daughter, got caught in the mix. Just when the gay allegations were marinating, Kaylee admitted on camera that John had slept on Autumn's bed. According to her, she woke up in the middle of the night, knocked out by medication she takes, that put her out for 12 to 15 hours, and found that Johnny was no longer in her bed. To prove this point, she called Autumn on live to have her confirm this in front of the audience. Kaylee spoke about the situation and tried to minimize the gravity of it by reiterating that John had slept on the covers and had not slipped underneath it to be close to her daughter.
What did he do? He slept where? He slept on top of the cover, but when I went to sleep, John was in who bed? Mine's, right? Yeah. In the middle of the night, you got out of my bed and you got in my daughter's bed because he knew I was on medication. I take medication, and the medication had you sleep. It knocks you out for a good 8 to 9 hours.
But this is barely the point. A grown adult man, romantically involved with a woman, getting out of that woman's bed in the middle of the night while she is medicated and unconscious, should now go to sleep in the bedroom of her young daughter. This entire situation is all the more disturbing when you find out that he's not related to her in any way. John is not Autumn's father, and therefore had no right to slip into her bed. He later explained that Kaylee had been sleeping too wild and that was why he moved to the girl's bedroom. But again, this isn't justification for such a behavior. This is something a parent ought to call the police about, followed immediately by removing that man from the home and never allowing him back. But Kaylee's updates kept revealing other disturbing angles in the situation. Amidst this weird topic, she revealed that she sniffed her daughter's panties, not because of John, but because of parental control. And this wasn't the first time she mentioned something like this. Kaylee has repeated it time and time again in her live streams. For her, this was her way of knowing whether her daughter was sleeping around.
After I disciplined her, that's what I'm gonna say. After I disciplined her, I did make her take her off, and I smelled her sure did. That's how I know if she doing something or not, if she ain't doing.
For some reason, this is normal parental behavior to her, and she often raises the question of whether or not other mothers do the same thing. Well, different parents practice different types of parenting structures, but something of this nature is indeed strange to process, especially when it's punctured into the internet by a mother. Not to mention that this was a time where she was having a tug-of-war session with her daughter and baby daddy. There was a lot of back and forth between Kaylee and John, and Kaylee and her own daughter. In one of her live streams, this black mom claimed that Autumn liked John, and she said it as if she was accusing her own daughter of the ongoing situation.
We just gonna put it all out there. She like him. She like him. She likes him. She likes him. She's been contacting him. She's been calling him.
What kind of mother would downplay such a predatory case involving her daughter and still blame the 12-year-old for it? Kaylee said that because she believes that her daughter still gave a green light despite her warnings and the different times they had talked about it.
And she gonna be held accountable. He a grown man and he 1,001% wrong. But she know what she doing too. Because if your mama tell you not to contact somebody and you still keep doing it, after I done said and had a long conversation with you, you know what you're doing.
She might not have meant any harm and might have spoken from a place of pain, but nothing changes the fact that this kind of sensitive topic doesn't have a place on social media. It shouldn't be shared on a platform where Autumn's friends can see and her own family can still revisit years into the future. There are people in her comments who felt the same sentiments. This was a strange topic that Kaylee should have kept private, but she made the unwise decision of putting her family's affairs on the internet like this. And the sad part is that it didn't end there. Things went even lower when Kaylee revealed separate allegations regarding her daughter and John. One of them is that she had found Johnny and Autumn together in a dark room on another occasion, and she posted a screenshot of Johnny begging for forgiveness to prove it. It read, "I love you and these kids like you all my own. It was dark because Autumn turned out the kitchen light when I was asking you how many eggs you wanted, baby. I seen her jolt to the room, and when I got 10 there, she was in the dark. Please, babe, don't ever think I would ever do anything to hurt her." And in the second allegation, she posted messages that John had allegedly sent to Autumn's friend, who's also underage. It is assumed that John had either been communicating with Autumn through her friend's phone or had tried to keep tabs on her the same way. The messages revealed panels where John told the recipient of this number that he misses them and would ask if she was at home. There were also panels where he told Autumn's friend to ensure that Autumn calls him. Now, for context, Kaylee had been arrested during this time for reasons that we'll get into shortly, and the authorities had put the kids in proper custody in her absence. To anyone watching, what John was doing might have seemed like he genuinely cared and wanted to be updated on the situation. However, it's fishy when you note some certain points. First of all, he wasn't paying attention to Kaylee, but Autumn. He was only interested in finding out Autumn's living condition, and not even about her own siblings. And he acted as if he was hiding from Kaylee herself, even though she was indisposed. Secondly, and most importantly, he wasn't her real father, and his relationship with Kaylee was already rocky. So why bother with Autumn? Not to mention some of the messages he sent to this child was very fishy, like this particular one where he told her not to tell anyone about their correspondence. How is she doing? And please don't go telling people about these messages. I'm just trying to check on my people. Due to this series of behaviors, many netizens believed that John was truly drawn to Autumn. It's sickening, but relatively true. This man was sending text messages to a girl who wasn't even legal in the eyes of the law at ungodly hours. The messages only came to light when detectives revealed them to Kaylee, who later shared them on her TikTok page for all to see. John tried to do damage control by claiming that the text messages and every other screenshot that Kaylee had been sharing were created by ChatGPT. But of course, TikTok users in his comments did not buy it. When it came to addressing the Autumn situation, he tried to downplay it as well, and to make it seem like Kaylee was over-exaggerating. However, his words really sounded off for someone trying to beat the PDF file allegations. John had said something along the lines of everyone's in love with Autumn.
Why she keep bringing Autumn's name up? Because she knows that that's going to spark attention because everyone's in love with Autumn. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it for myself. Like when we go into public and stuff like that, I've seen like we was in Gatlinburg and stuff like that. Like people was like, "Where's Autumn? Where's Autumn?" Like they just like that's all they asked about.
It's weird that a grown adult would highlight how much of a presence a child has in public, and it's also disturbing that he chose to say that to prove a point that everyone was drawn to Autumn. It almost feels as if he was talking about himself indirectly. The comments were quick to pick this up, and the odds were not in his favor at all. John maintained that Kaylee had only made this allegation because it was the only way she could get a response from him, and she most likely succeeded in using the narrative to target him.
Keeps using that narrative because that's the only narrative that's going to get her a response. You see what I'm saying? She using narrative is going to get her a response because people don't know who I am. People have never seen me. So if you've never seen me in your whole life, and then now all of a sudden you hear somebody that you've been watching your whole life say something about somebody, you're going to believe it. That's just how it is.
But the truth is that John had gotten into a child's bed when the mother was passed out from the heavy medication. He could have chosen to sleep on the couch or the floor like a gentleman. But instead of doing that, he went to a little girl's room. And not only that, but he also constantly chatted with a minor at odd hours and for no just reasons. These are not good reports. And now that he was trying to defend himself, he had to make it seem like there was some magnetic force around Autumn that people couldn't resist. And Kaylee was trying to stir drama based on that fact. But despite everything, Kaylee did nothing to protect her child and quickly turned it into an internet drama. She talked about all of it publicly and had no way to escape him since she carries his baby. But even this factor had led to another controversy when Kaylee showed some signs that she might not be ready to be a mother to this child. When she first found out about the pregnancy, she was over the roof. Kaylee talked about it constantly on live and went to doctor's appointments on camera. However, there was a shift in her mood along the way, maybe as a result of her problems with John. Kaylee experienced mild spotting and went to the hospital thinking she might be miscarrying. Mind you, this was also shared online and it revealed a haunting side of this TikTok mom. After her checkup, Kaylee asked the doctor whether the baby still had a heartbeat, and her facial expression was so confusing and triggering when the answer was positive. Her baby was safe, but Kaylee didn't seem delighted by the news.
About 6 weeks long. So the heart still beating? Yeah.
Even the doctor thought that she wanted to remove the baby based on how she reacted to the news, but Kaylee waved it off like she wasn't being serious. However, it's hard to believe her when, in another live stream, she had announced that she would starve herself and stress herself to the point of miscarriage if she found out she was having a baby girl. This behavior wasn't a one-time affair. It was an extended series of statements she made, across multiple live sessions, about what she would do if the baby turned out to be a girl. She said she did not want another daughter, that the thought of having a girl made her feel like she would be miserable through the entire pregnancy, and she added that she would cry the whole time. She said this while already being the mother of 2 daughters, Autumn and Winter, who were both old enough to eventually encounter those statements on the internet or hear about them from someone at school. How would a child feel after finding out that her mother said, publicly and repeatedly, that she would have preferred not to have another one like her? Once again, Kaylee was doing something that would leave permanent and emotional scars in her kids. Her reason for saying this is that her one and only son, DJ, doesn't stress her out like her daughters do. For her, he's practically the ideal child since he's caring and doesn't get in trouble like other kids.
DJ don't give me no problems. DJ don't get in trouble at school. We don't get suspended. When I'm sick, DJ the only one come in my room, check on me, make sure I'm straight. Whole time I'm in jail, my sister was like, DJ the only one cried, said Autumn slept peacefully.
This is one of the many cases where Kaylee revealed her insensitive side as a mother. Even John wasn't exactly Father of the Year material, because he also has denied Kaylee's current pregnancy, as if he's not the father.
Like, is the baby gonna have your last name when she have the baby?
What baby?
Oh. Bro.
What you talking about?
This roller coaster of internet drama is basically a glimpse of what Kaylee G's TikTok history is all about. When she first started building her audience, Kaylee adopted a simple concept. She and her oldest daughter, Autumn, would do impression skits together where Autumn would pretend to be her.
Do you got $1,000? Do she got $1,000? Okay, that's what I thought. Get out my face.
But the thing about Autumn's impression of her mom was that it portrayed exactly who Kaylee G was at home, behind closed doors. She would sit on the couch with a fake blunt, take the exact posture and tone of her mother, and reenact conversations and situations pulled directly from daily life in that household. In one skit, she was on the phone pretending to be her mom talking to a friend while in the store, casually describing a shoplifting attempt at a store.
Yeah, girl, I'm in the store. You know how you don't scan some shit. I'm not scanning some Heard I Mama, you forgot to scan this. She don't go doing.
A child pretending to steal from a store is only funny up until you realize she was there when it happened. Also, a child pretending to smoke, it's only a cute impression until you realize she grew up watching it done in her house. Not to mention that Autumn at the age of 12 was already cursing with ease and fluency. All these factors put together sends the message that Kaylee G was far from a decent, ideal mother on the internet. But still, her content didn't really look problematic for the average TikTok scroller. This is because Kaylee balanced off her content. Most of the controversial posts that had solidified her status as one of the internet's most problematic mothers today were recorded from her live streams and her TikTok account. Currently, she runs another one after losing the old page, mid-2025. Other than family content, Kaylee has a knack for making hair, braids, boho knots, and wig installs. She's quite good at it and often shares this talent on her channel, even though she still finds ways to surround the content around her kids. In addition, before her TikTok career took off, Kaylee had worked as a dancer, or as she called herself, a midnight ballerina. This job had paved the way to several performances in different cities, including Miami. Also, Kaylee had had a history with the law as she once got into jail, and she was open about this detail on social media. You see, Kaylee stopped offering hair services to people outside her immediate household at some point, because according to her explanation, she had talked so much online about so many people that she no longer trusted strangers coming to her home. She even added that despite the image she projected online, she was not actually trying to end up back in a jail cell. This type of online reputation tells you a lot about the woman. She's rough around the edges, and she still tries to provide for her family, even though her methods are not exactly praiseworthy. For most of her internet history, Kaylee has been open about her childhood background. She did not grow up with love and affection in any reliable form. Her relationship with her own mother ended in the most damaging way possible, and this was because of her father, who came from a mixed heritage.
And people got to understand life changes people. No, I did not used to be this gangster, tough girl. I used to...
Kaylee claimed that she began to act like a white girl growing up, partly because of her father, and this created a rift between her and her mom and siblings who were blacks.
So when I was younger, I used to act like a white girl, and I think that's why my mama and like my siblings and them, they distance themselves from me because they say I'm trying to be somebody that I'm not, and I'm not.
She explained that her mom would smack her, and this for her was more of a playful gesture than it was discipline. Then everything changed with her mother's next move. According to Kaylee, the woman who gave birth to her looked her in the face and told her she did not want her, and then she signed away her parental rights while Kaylee was watching. She described this backstory on a live stream.
Man, she said in my face and she told me she didn't want me no more, and she signed away her rights. I swear to God, y'all. She said in my face and told me she didn't want me, and she told me she didn't love me.
From then on, Kaylee went into foster care, where she grew up without structure and care that kids her age needed. Before her life had taken such a drastic turn, she had been a completely different person. She was gentle, open, and proper.
I went to foster care, where basically I didn't have a mom, dad, no guidance or nothing, so I grew up in the streets. The streets raised me. People start to change. I'm not going to act like the same person I was. You know what I'm saying? When I lived in the household with them, I'm a different person.
But when she got into foster care, things changed. Kaylee became rigid. In her words, the streets raised her, and that the person she became was a direct product of the circumstances her mother created.
This is what I am now because of, you know what I'm saying, the circumstances that my mother put me under. You allowed us to go to foster care. You allowed me to take this route. You allowed me to be like this.
Kaylee's mother didn't just throw her into the system. She also did the same thing to her siblings. Some relatives were merciful enough to take in some of the siblings, like her older sister. However, they wanted nothing to do with Kaylee herself, and the whole situation somewhat created the foundation of a future rift between Kaylee and her sister. Kaylee's background really did a number on her, and it's the reason why she doesn't know how to show love to her kids the proper way. In one of her most heartbreaking moments ever shared on TikTok, she revealed that Autumn would write notes about how much she loved her.
Autumn always write me like little notes, and like the last note Autumn wrote to me, she said, I know you be going through a lot, but I just want to tell you that I love you.
The words hit Kaylee like it would any mother, but since she's unfamiliar with this kind of situation, Kaylee doesn't always know how to react and would end up throwing the notes away. And from the way she describes it, she feels hurt about what kind of mother she was proving to be.
And y'all, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I wonder how Autumn be feeling, because when I read the note, I don't go to her and be like, thank you, hug, or I be like, Autumn, I got your note. I just bottle it up and throw it in the garbage, but it do be meaning something to me. I cry, like I close my door.
Many are of the opinion that she needs therapy in order to heal from the emotional inadequacies she experienced as a child. No one should subject a child to the same emotional and psychological trauma they faced when they were young, but there are some circumstances that might be beyond one's control. In Kaylee's case, she might have not realized the baggage she was carrying before having 3 kids, and understanding that they needed the love, care, and attention she never got to experience herself. Kaylee is openly proud of her daughter, Autumn. It's so serious to the point that she gushed over the fact that her daughter knew the word altercation.
So yeah, today me and DJ, not my mama, go to y'all story time, have my mama and our auntie got into altercation. So we gonna call
you know that word?
Yeah.
Okay.
But her parenting choices make it difficult for internet users to support her, and not just her parenting skills, but also her personal relationships. Just like we say in the Johnny Bladed saga, Kaylee's content took a dive when it shifted from lighthearted family skits to controversial daily drama broadcasts. One of her early mistakes in internet history that is usually referenced is a stunt she pulled concerning her children's education in June 2025. Kaylee went on TikTok and told the internet that Autumn and DJ had both failed their grades and were going to be held back in school. She claimed that Autumn had been caught in between an academic crossroads where they were unsure whether she should be in 3rd or 4th grade.
Nah, the kids ain't at school because they had a mix-up on whether Autumn was gonna be back in 3rd grade or the 4th grade. So they was like they had to send some paperwork over from the behavior specialist, and then they said Lakeside.
This setting already sounds odd because Autumn is 12 years old and isn't meant to be in 3rd or 4th grade at all. In the US, the age limit for 3rd grade students is between 8 to 9 years old, and 9 to 10 years old for 4th graders. At 12 years of age, Autumn is meant to be in high school, and Kaylee was well aware of this.
Autumn is 12 years old. No, Autumn is supposed to be in high school.
Then on the other hand, her son DJ had been failing school due to their constant moving from one place to another.
Nah, I don't fail because of a state standardized test. DJ failed because he wasn't getting it. I moved from Memphis to Miami when I had first started dancing. He failed the 2nd grade years ago when he was little.
This poor situation surrounding the two kids is appalling to anyone listening, yet Kaylee felt it was okay to share it with the internet and further expose her family's strange living conditions. Kaylee had moved her kids from Memphis to Florida a few months before the end of the school year, and instead of viewing the lack of stability as a potential reason for her children failing school, Kaylee decided to push the blame to the Memphis schooling system.
He failed the 2nd grade because I moved from Memphis to Florida like 2-3 months before the end of the school year, and their curriculum in Florida is different than the curriculum in Memphis, and he wasn't able to grasp or catch on with the curriculum as the kids in Broward County did because it was hard.
She claimed that the tests that her kids had taken, especially the one for 4th graders, was not easy because her child had not gathered enough points for it.
Autumn failed the 4th grade because Memphis has this they have this stupid for 4th graders. They got some type of test, and you got to get a certain amount of points on the test.
On that note, Kaylee maintained that she was not at fault for her children's failure. It was the school's system because it wasn't as rigorous as the ones she was familiar with in Miami.
In Miami, now they making you actually learn and work for real. And he wasn't used to that. It ain't got to do with my parenting. Nothing at all.
However, internet users in the comments didn't agree. Some claimed that you can always retake the test if you failed it the first time, and even people who work in the educational system attest to this, adding that it's a standardized state test that 3rd graders need to take. I work in the school district in Memphis, and the test you're referring to is for 3rd graders, LOL. So that's not why she failed the 4th grade. It's also a standardized state test, not a Memphis thing. For those who aren't familiar with how the American school system works, a standardized state test is basically a big exam that every student in a particular grade has to take across the whole state, not just their school. It's designed to measure whether a student has actually learned what they were supposed to learn that year, and failing it has real consequences, like being held back in your grade. The specific test that Autumn was reportedly dealing with is called the TCAP, which stands for Tennessee Comprehensive Assessment Program. It's Tennessee's version of that test, and 3rd and 4th graders in the state have to pass to advance. It is not optional, and most importantly, it's not something a parent can just shrug off and blame on the school system when their child doesn't pass it. There are also retake opportunities before a student is officially held back, which made Kaylee's excuse-making even less convincing to the people in her comments. Some, like this parent, pointed out that she's still at fault as a mother for not being more attentive to her children's needs. Yes, the students have to pass the TCAP test in 4th grade. If the student fails, they retake, fail again, then go to summer school. Parents have to make sure the kids stay on their work and learning, and definitely mom fault. Other TikTokers were on the same page, and they explained in detail that Kaylee should have sat her children down to study in order to avoid this issue.
I don't think that state test was the reason. And I don't think that we should be blaming it on that state test because the work started at home. You supposed to, start them off, be on their butt to the point to where they gonna learn. They not in school playing because you on when they get home. You reading books with them.
Kaylee didn't take these reprimands well and soon went on a live-streamed event. In this particular clip, she was fuming and saying that her audience should push the blame on the kid's father instead of her.
And y'all gonna stop trying to penalize me for I'm one person trying to take care of 3 kids. Go get on they daddy and get on they like why y'all over there just letting this girl do everything by herself.
She essentially complained that the burden of handling the kids and household was already too much for her to be bothered with schoolwork.
I can't be 50 places at one time. If I sit in the house all day with my kids, how am I gonna make money to pay the rent, pay the light bill, keep clothes, shoes on their back, food in the refrigerator, yard cut, maintenance on the car? How?
It was just a circle of netizens blaming her for not being attentive, and her kids for being slow. They also highlighted reasons why Autumn and DJ were not focused on school in the first place, which was due to their obsession with making TikToks. The posts and screen records from live streams spread across platforms, and Kaylee watched as the internet continued to tell her off for not being familiar with her children's academic needs.
she don't be making them go to school every day. Like, if they wake up in the morning and they feel like they don't want to go to school, she be like, okay, well, you ain't got to go to school then. What are you talking about? They're children. They got to go to school. What are you talking about?
This TikToker also suggested that Kaylee gets a tutor for her kids if she's too busy to handle it.
Take your money that you say you got and hire your children some tutors so that they can get out of elementary school and middle school. Give them the proper tools they need to succeed.
A move like this would be the bare minimum for her to do, especially if Kaylee truly cared for their academic success. However, none of this advice would mean anything at the end of the day because the drama took an unexpected turn when Kaylee herself returned with a shocking update. After letting the blame train run for a while, she came back on a live stream to reveal that she had fabricated the entire story.
Okay, so like I said, I lied to y'all. Y'all did what I needed y'all to do. And thank y'all, and that's it.
And it didn't end with her flashing her children's report cards. Kaylee also told the internet to apologize to her children for how they reacted to the report that she engineered entirely on purpose.
Now, y'all need to apologize to Autumn and DJ. I'll show y'all DJ report card too. But y'all need to apologize to Autumn and DJ for calling them slow. I thought y'all Autumn. Why y'all switch up on Autumn? Because she failed.
In the blink of an eye, she repositioned herself as the reasonable party and called for accountability from the audience she had deliberately provoked. What kind of a mother would do that? Well, the answer is a mother who would use her kids to gain views on social media. The problem with this entire situation is that Autumn had already told Kaylee directly that things she posted online were reaching her at school. The little girl had told her that classmates were using Kaylee's content as material for bullying, approaching Autumn in the hallway, making comments about things they had seen on her mother's page. And Kaylee's response to learning that information was to create more content, specifically about her daughter's academic failure.
She thought to become a little woman and she act just like me. She don't even like being on the internet no more. That's why y'all don't really be seeing me post so that much when y'all started talking about her. And it ain't because of me, because the saying on the internet, I'm just trolling. I said my kids were family if she was alive. So they don't bother. It do bother her that I lied on them. It do.
She never acknowledged her fault in the situation. She only claimed that Autumn hated getting on the internet because people had been mean to her about her failing school, and it bothered her so much. But instead of protecting her integrity, Kaylee worsened the situation by posting about her own child's worries and calling Autumn problematic for it. Kaylee had done too much that even another controversial TikTok mom named Akane had to speak up. Erica Kane, known online as Akane or EK, is a Detroit-born TikTok personality who built her following through raw, unfiltered honesty about her life. Just like Kaylee, her relationship problems were a public spectacle. It involved a lot of drama like domestic violence, cheating admissions, arguments caught on live stream, and a revolving door of breakups and reconciliations that has gone on for years. Akane isn't a stranger to chaos, and she wears that fact proudly, and this is exactly why she somehow made her way into Kaylee's business. The beef started when Akane was on live with her friend, and someone dropped Kaylee's name in the comments saying her kids had failed their grades. Akane read it out loud, her friend ran with it, and the trolling began. When the clip made its rounds and reached Kaylee, she came out swinging, calling Akane a bald eagle and telling her to stay out of her lane.
I didn't even say anything. All I said was what she said. I didn't even speak on anything.
Akane clapped back coolly, pointing out that all she did was read a comment.
Second of all, Kaylee G, nobody spoke on you had going on. The only thing I said was, oh, you heard Kaylee G kids failed? Because somebody had said it in the comments. But Kaylee G, we not beefing. I didn't speak on you. I said one little comment, and that was it.
Then from there, she called Kaylee out for using her children as clickbait.
I know. I seen the clip you said your kids fell for clickbait. If you have to use your kids failing as clickbait, then that's you. I'm not, if anything, what I'm saying about my kids is they gonna be doctors. They're gonna be college graduates. I'm not saying my kids fail for clickbait. For what?
These words coming from Akane of all people landed with real weight, and these were two messy mothers who were launched into a war based on one comment section, and neither one was willing to blink first. Akane and Kaylee would then go back and forth with their beef, with Akane pressing more buttons online. She shunned Kaylee for being a bad mother and said that her childhood trauma wasn't an excuse for her to not do better for the sake of her kids.
You talking about your childhood wasn't the best. Mine neither. My mom ain't hug and kiss on me neither. But I'm doing that now with my kids. You're not. You've been a mom longer than me. How old are you?
The beef simmered for a while, but like the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. Despite this early beef, Kaylee and Akane eventually became internet besties. They would get on live streams and smile and vibe with each other.
Kaylee, one thing, let me tell you something. You are me. You just the real ghetto version of me, and I'm the fake ghetto version. Like, I didn't really grow up in the hood. I ain't got to fight and all that. You really that.
And it didn't end with compliments. Akane and Kaylee had turned into sisters in the oversharing department. They consoled each other whenever they cried on live and could openly discuss and schedule abortions on livestream. And with their beef out of the way, Kaylee continued down on her path to controversial motherhood. Other than damaging her children's confidence by lying to the internet about their academic failure, Kaylee had done a lot of problematic stunts. The second major controversy that Kaylee got into was her relationship with fighting when it comes to parenting. Autumn would get into fights, and Kaylee would report the incident on the internet. One time, it was a clash between her and two girls, and Kaylee talked about it like it was the morning report.
Autumn got to fight with two girls at school. 2 8th graders.
Here's how the story went. There had been ongoing conflict between Autumn and a group of older girls at school, reportedly 8th graders while Autumn was in 5th grade. One of those girls who rode the same bus as Autumn had come to her with a message from the group, essentially warning her that she was going to be jumped. After learning that their child had been threatened by a group of older students, most parents would contact the school, consider changing bus routes, or speak with another parent. But Kaylee did the unimaginable. Her response was to take Autumn to the bus stop, tell her to drop her book bag, and direct her to confront the girl, and Kaylee recounted this incident while brimming with pride. Again, this is an area that a mother shouldn't broadcast on social media, yet Kaylee was doing the exact opposite. When commenters told her it was a form of bad parenting, she retorted by saying that she didn't care because she was trained to always defend herself whenever she can.
I don't know, call me a bad parent, but my homeboys never taught me, this is how I was taught.
This was the foundation she was trying to lay for her children. Kaylee always went full mother hen on people who looked like a threat to her kids, especially Autumn. Regardless of how raggedy it appears on the surface, her heart is in the right place as a mother. It's just that Kaylee's methods are far from conventional. It became even more apparent when she encouraged Autumn after she got into a large fight at school involving 6 people. Kaylee went on live to describe it as if she's a sports commentator. She was animated and clearly delighted with the outcome.
I had to get back up to go pick up my daughter because they say she was involved in a fight that involved 6 people. And yeah, I put it on TikTok because I know the only reason Autumn got the fight is because she Autumn and she got a name on TikTok.
Kaylee teaches her kids that fighting is the neutral, responsible baseline. She also used the fact that 2 of Autumn's friends had helped in the fight as a teaching point. For her, these 2 friends were good ones while the others who stood back were not.
And only 2 of Autumn's friends helped her, and I told Autumn, them who your friends is. She like, my other friends just stood there watching, them ain't your friends then. The 2 that jumped in, them your friends.
The fight would eventually lead to Autumn being summoned to court after one of the children's parents pressed charges against her. The fight had resulted in one of the kids losing a tooth and another her hair, so there was a demand for legal reproach. And Kaylee, as always, shared this news with her audience.
They're trying to give me a court date.
What's the court date?
I had to take Autumn to court. I guess they trying to press charges on her.
Kaylee and Autumn's relationship is one of the main pillars of her internet history. There's always an issue between the pair, and it gets to a point that it's no longer looking like scripted content. It's no longer impressions of Kaylee or dance videos. Everything changed in April 2026 when Kaylee and Autumn had their biggest fight yet. It started on a Sunday night. Kaylee was on live in bed when her youngest daughter, Winter, came into the room and started telling her that Autumn had snuck out of the house to go to a party.
So what time she left? How long she been gone?
For like 1 hour, I guess.
She been gone for like an hour?
I think.
Her head's gonna be outside, I swear to God. This gonna be fun, I can't wait.
It appeared Autumn had actually been at a club and she is underage. Kaylee had not realized Autumn was gone until Winter told her. She went to check the room, found an empty bed, and came back to the live stream. Kaylee didn't react with immediate fear, or a sick feeling, or even have the impulse to call everyone on her phone who might know where she went. Instead, she started laughing and made comments about how this was going to be fun. And then she called the police to file a missing persons report.
You know what she was last seen wearing? You know what time she left the house?
Nope.
However, in this very call, she made a bizarre request. Instead of having the cops drop Autumn at her house, she told the dispatcher to send her to Child Protective Services.
And does she have a mental condition that would prevent her from returning home safely?
She can't come here, so you can put in a report that when she do come to my house, CPS can come and get her from my house. So I don't know what she get, but I just want to make a report that she missed.
She told the police dispatcher directly that she wanted to file the report so that she could go to bed. She was not scared or bothered in the least. Part of the reason might be that Kaylee was fed up with the attitude. In another live stream, she stated that this wasn't Autumn's first time of sneaking out, but it was the internet's first time of finding out about it, and Autumn had done a lot of things that kids her age wouldn't dare to do online.
This ain't Autumn's first time sneaking out no more house. This the internet first time knowing about it.
Kaylee listed out everything Autumn had allegedly done wrong, from sneaking out to doing a body-stuffing prank, wearing her clothes without permission, and going to clubs. She put her daughter's entire history of problematic behaviors on the internet in detail. In another post she would make weeks later, she would disclose that Autumn often checks if she's asleep before she sneaks out of the window. The bottom line is that all these issues are direct proof of Kaylee's failed parenting. Her TikTok craze pushed her to expose her children, especially Autumn herself. There, on the same platform, she would reveal intimate details about her daughter. She spoke about sniffing her undies. She placed her in the middle of a conflict between her and John, her sugar daddy, and she popularized the narrative that their family would choose fights over a peaceful mediation no matter the costs. Kaylee had also revealed that she can't be soft to her daughter, who always writes notes for her, eager for affection. She cried online that she would make sure she miscarried if her next child turned out to be a girl, because her daughter had given her enough stress as it is. And now that she snuck out to go clubbing at age 12, while Kaylee was on her bed the entire time, she had chosen to hand her over to the police and CPS. This whole story might seem like a piece of fiction on the internet, but it's someone's reality out there. It's the reality that Kaylee G's family keeps facing, for views. When this particular situation played out, it didn't end the way Kaylee expected. When the police arrived at her house, they discovered an outstanding traffic warrant on Kaylee's name, and she was arrested instead. That night, she went to jail while Autumn was still somewhere out in the city. Then when Kaylee got out the next day, she got on live almost immediately, and the first thing she said was that Autumn was living with her anymore.
They got out of jail again. Autumn don't live with me no more. If that's what everybody want to know, Autumn don't stay in my house no more, boo. And that's all my kids. She don't live with me.
Then in another extended explanation, she claimed that right before her arrest, she gave her daughter up to CPS and was done with her.
So where she at? I called CPS before I went to jail. I voluntarily gave her up. I'm done with this. Done.
And then she kept going and going and going, talking about how she wasn't sad that her daughter had just been placed with Child Protective Services, and then she said that she would focus on her 2 kids, not 3, but 2, DJ and Winter. Autumn had been subtracted from the count, out loud and on camera in front of millions of people.
Move on with my life and focus on my 2 kids.
Why would a mother act like this, especially after she has shared with the internet that her own mother had given her up to foster care? She knows firsthand how being in the system messes children up, and here she was, boasting about it online. Some people believed that she was lying and doing this for content. They believed that Autumn was at home and Kaylee was pulling everyone's legs. But between the call to the police and her constant updates about Autumn being out of the house for misbehavior, it was hard to believe that Kaylee was joking around. Days after days, she continued to post about Autumn being with the CPS and even made TikTok edits about it.
I got away with it. It ain't that much no way in the world. No, you don't get away that much. No.
For her, it was a very normal and funny content, and no one could make her feel guilty about it.
Part 1 of me reading fake comments that I don't get. Let's go. Where is Autumn? Who the is? Let me block them. Cause who the is that?
One time, she said she'd love Autumn from a distance and accepted people tagging her as a bad mother.
I ain't posting no video. I changed my mind. I'm done with this. I ain't talking about it. Yeah, I love Autumn, but sometimes you gotta love people from a distance. I ain't got nothing bad to say about her. I'm still like gonna out her. I'm gonna take the backlash from her. I'm a bad mom. I'll take it.
This made netizens very furious, especially because Kaylee also talked about how Autumn calls her to cry every day now that she was in CPS custody. Again, from the way things were playing it out, it's unclear whether Kaylee was being serious. Did she just leave Autumn with CPS for a few days to teach her a lesson? Was Autumn even with CPS? Or was she being serious about the whole issue?
I want y'all to know she not coming back to my house. If y'all looking for her, y'all think this clickbait, y'all think I'm trolling, I'm not. She not coming back to my house. I love her from a distance, though.
With Kaylee, you never can tell what kind of unusual parenting style she was adopting. After all, this is a mother who sniffs her daughter's underwear. Kaylee had launched this hate train against Autumn that led some people to think she was just jealous about the John situation. She was so bitter that she made claims of her son, hating Autumn.
DJ ain't even talking to Autumn. I've been talking to DJ the whole time I'm in jail. DJ like, Mama, I don't even want her around me. DJ like he slept in the living room because he don't want to be around Autumn the problem. Autumn the problem. Ain't nobody no problem. It's her. She the problem.
But as she had always said, DJ was the most unproblematic kid she could think of, and it's unreasonable that he would be so bitter about his own sister. And this brings us back to the question, of why Kaylee was so angry with Autumn. Was it because of John, or was she mad that the situation blew up in her face before she could control it? It's possible that she had tried to pull a stunt with her calling the cops and CPS on Autumn. Perhaps she wanted more views by showing the audience how hard parenting can go for her. Through this method, she could have taught Autumn a lesson for sneaking out, while also proving to the internet that, although her methods are extreme, she still had ways of disciplining her children. Maybe this was the plan, until the cops ended up arresting her, and it's possible that the anger and annoyance she felt in that moment had clouded her sense of judgment moving forward. After the widespread second-guessing, Autumn appeared on her own TikTok story shortly after, asking people to send money for products because she needed them. She wrote, "Can someone cash at me for some food and personal items? Prayers are also appreciated." This post could be interpreted as Autumn truly being outside her mom's house. The little girl who left love notes on her mother's pillow was now asking strangers on the internet for soap. John later put his own 2 cents on the topic, saying that a responsible parent would be curious to know where their child is and would not be on the internet posting about it.
Second your child is gone, you should be out looking for your child. You shouldn't be on Facebook Live and TikTok Live trying to figure out, you know what I'm saying, trying to let people know what you're going to do when she get back. You just got to look for your child, because if it was my child, I've been out searching the city.
Nothing they said could faze Kaylee, though. Throughout the digital backlash, she stubbornly stood her ground and refused to change the campaign against Autumn. But this wouldn't last long, because their reconciliation happened behind the scenes, and Autumn returned in Kaylee's videos, with the first one being Kaylee's antenatal appointment. Kaylee eventually got her results from the ultrasound and discovered to her delight that she was expecting a baby boy.
Yes! 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 I'm having a boy, y'all!
When Kaylee and Autumn got back together, she updated her followers on the latest happenings. Autumn was grounded for 2 months, and this was her punishment for sneaking out to the club. She wasn't allowed to step outside, use her devices, or watch TV.
No outside, no TV, no cellular devices, no nothing. They said for how long? For 2 months.
And there was no exception in this punishment, not even for a trip she planned for the other kids to go to the water park. Kaylee said she wanted Autumn to feel it so that she would desist from trying what she did next time.
They gotta feel it. You know, 1-2 weeks, they ain't gonna feel it. They gonna be like, oh, okay, number 1-2 weeks, I can do that. But can't no more 60 days. You gonna feel them 60 days.
It might be tough, but it's still a sign that she knows when to discipline her child despite how problematic she is as a mother. Kaylee is someone who never knows when to draw the line between personal, private, and public affairs. She treats her life like a reality show with no editing budget or filter. Everything goes in, nothing gets cut. She's openly spoken about her own brother's sexuality when it wasn't warranted at all.
Do you have brothers? I had 3 brothers, and they all gay. 2 of them are undercover gay, 1 is full-blown gay. Like, he not hiding in the closet.
2 of them were still in the closet 5 minutes before she made that post. But that's how it is with Kaylee. Everything about her life needs a place on social media. She was live streaming when the police arrested her for vandalism. And she's also shared troubling tales about how she urinates on herself due to a bad bladder.
Sometimes I do be on myself, bro. My bladder's so much bad. I do be pissing on myself sometimes.
That is a medical situation that most adults would take to a doctor, not a live stream. But Kaylee chose social media. Even her pranks are borderline strange, like this one where she walked around without underwear in front of her gay brother and kids, just to see their reaction. After seeing that clip, the kids are going to need therapy, the brother is going to need therapy, and honestly, anyone watching at home probably needs therapy too. Kaylee crosses boundaries with a big smile on her face, and a very proud sense of accomplishment, and she had no idea how this will affect her kids in the long run. It goes without saying that she doesn't even consider their feelings with the type of things she posts on the internet. Would a child be happy to have a mom who goes to jail frequently? That's what Kaylee subjects her family to. When she's away from misdemeanor offenses, her kids are at the mercy of the authorities, and this low moment still makes its way onto camera.
They distance themselves from me because they say I'm trying to be somebody that I'm not, and I'm not. Like, what they're not understanding is I went to foster care.
Kaylee G is a woman who has lived a hard life, and that part is not up for debate. She was given up by her own mother, raised by the streets, and entered adulthood without a single solid blueprint for what good parenting was supposed to look like. But this painful background is not a free pass, especially when a 12-year-old girl pays the price for it every single day on the internet. Because at the end of the day, Autumn didn't choose to be born into a viral household. DJ didn't sign up to have his academic struggles turned into clickbait. Winter didn't ask to grow up on a live stream. These are real children with real feelings, and every lie Kaylee told for views is going to follow those kids long after TikTok has moved on to the next drama.
Listen and we don't judge.
I'm a motherfucking mama before anything. I'm sick of you low-life bitches trying to discredit me all the time. I got a fucking OnlyFans. It's a motherfucking fan page.
While it has become normal to see TikTok parents use their children for money and fame, only a handful of them have actually become mainstream celebrities using their child as a free card to reach that. Meet Tisha Tucker, an infamous TikTok mom in her 40s whose behavior toward her 4-year-old daughter is not just questionable, but also genuinely disturbing. From the start, Tisha refers to her 4-year-old daughter Miss Shirley, which is very creepy and makes her look like she is an adult woman. Tisha posts her daughter dancing to songs on TikTok. While her daughter is a very smart and intelligent kid who is able to dance perfectly at this young age, the songs she dances to are not particularly meant for kids. They are inappropriate songs. Among the many songs, one of the worst ones even has the word ass in it, to which Tisha made her daughter dance with it, all while she herself was showing it on her body while dancing. But this is the least disturbing of everything we are about to cover. From being accused of creating an OnlyFans page for her daughter, to letting her go to nightclubs to perform dances, the Tisha rabbit hole is much disturbing and deranged. Before all the fame in the Ms. Shirley brand, Tisha Tucker first started posting on TikTok around August 2021. At the time, her content was mainly focused on her hairstyling business, where she would show before and after transformations of her clients' hair. These videos were simple, straight to the point, and clearly meant to promote her small, humble service. It looked like a regular hustle, someone using social media as a tool to grow a business and reach more people. There was nothing harmful about this, in fact. It painted a pretty normal picture. A mother trying to build something for herself, using the resources she had, and putting in the work to support her family. It felt grounded, realistic, and relatable. Around that same time, Tisha also gave birth to her youngest daughter, Laria. Like many parents on social media, she would occasionally share cute pictures and short clips of her baby. These posts were spaced out and didn't seem like the main focus of her page at first. And while posting a newborn online, especially on a platform like TikTok, can raise some concerns due to the type of audience it can attract, her actions at this stage didn't come off as extreme or deeply concerning. It was something a lot of parents do without thinking too much about the long-term effects. Her business content was getting some traction, but overall the views were still relatively modest. However, something interesting started to happen. The posts featuring Laria, especially the slideshow style videos with music in the background, began pulling in much higher engagement. These clips were getting noticeably more views, more likes, and more attention compared to her usual hair content. Seeing this sudden difference, Tisha slowly began shifting her focus. Instead of mainly promoting her business, she started posting more videos centered around her daughter. At first it didn't seem like a big deal. Content was still light and innocent, just small, everyday moments of Laria doing what kids her age normally do, laughing, moving around, and being playful.
These little boy shoes, pretty big.
Don't make a yell.
But things started to take a more concerning turn when Tisha posted a video of Laria, who was only about 2 years old at the time, singing along to a song that quickly went viral, gaining over 3.5 million views and more than 730,000 likes.
I'm the face of the city, that's why you mad.
At first glance, it might seem like just another viral moment, but the real issue was the content of the song itself. As seen in the clip, the track Laria was singing along to was not appropriate for someone her age. It included mature themes, strong language, and messages clearly meant for an older audience. The song, performed by rising hip-hop artist Shanesha Smith, was a diss track directed at another person, which naturally included harsh wording and adult subject matter. What makes this situation more concerning is not just the song itself, but the fact that it was being encouraged, recorded, and shared publicly. A child that young repeating those kinds of lyrics raises questions about awareness, boundaries, and what kind of content is being normalized for views. It also marked a noticeable shift in the type of content being posted, moving away from casual, everyday moments into something more attention-driven. From that point on, it became clear that the direction of the account was changing. The focus was no longer just about sharing moments or promoting a business. It was starting to revolve around what would get the most views, the most engagement, and the most attention, even if that meant crossing into uncomfortable territory. This moment didn't go unnoticed, and it quickly sparked backlash from parts of her growing audience. Some viewers were genuinely concerned, leaving comments like, "This baby is beautiful, but she is being exposed to garbage," and does not hate, just tired of seeing this for our babies. Wake up already, break the cycle. It showed that not everyone was comfortable with what they were seeing, and some people were already questioning the direction things were heading. At the same time, there was still a large portion of the audience that saw it very differently. Many people defended the videos and treated them as harmless, calling them cute and saying it was just a child singing along to music. That mixed reaction created a strange balance where concern was present, but it was being drowned out by praise and viral attention. And once that first viral moment hit, Tisha leaned into it. Instead of slowing down, she doubled down and started posting more of the same type of content. That decision paid off in terms of numbers. Not long after, another video of Laria went viral, this time featuring her singing along to the popular song Shibuya. The clip exploded, pulling in around 6 million views and nearly 1.5 million likes, pushing her even further into the spotlight. On On the surface, the video looks like a sweet moment. It shows a mother and daughter spending time together, laughing and bonding. But once again, the issue is the lyrics. The song includes harsh language and adult phrases, and the fact that a 2-year-old not only recognizes the words but confidently sings along to them raises serious concerns. These are not things a child that young should be familiar with, let alone repeating on camera for millions of people to see. Soon after these viral moments, things began to shift even more. At the beginning of 2023, Larriah landed her first online gig, becoming a brand ambassador for a small fashion business on TikTok. It was presented as something exciting and impressive for her age, with Tisha proudly showing it off. Ms. Shirley is a brand ambassador for Unique Fashion. This was literally her first time doing this, but when I say she is natural, this is what I mean. While many people continued to brush everything off as harmless fun, the effects of this kind of exposure were already starting to show. In one video, Larriah can be heard using inappropriate language multiple times while talking to her mother.
What you saying, Larriah? What you say?
For most parents, this would be a moment to step in immediately, correct the behavior, and teach the child what is right and wrong, but instead of stopping her or addressing it, Tisha chose to record it. That decision says a lot. It suggests that capturing a viral moment was more important than correcting the behavior in real time. It doesn't stop there either. Tisha continues the interaction, encouraging Larriah to repeat the same words over and over for nearly 2 minutes, all while laughing and treating it like a joke.
Who you talking to?
This time, the reaction in the comment section was much more direct. People were clearly upset and uncomfortable. One person wrote, "Oh no, she is still a baby and she is cursing and you all laughing." Another added, "You all post this stuff like it is funny and it is not." The tone had shifted from light concern to clear frustration. On top of everything else, viewers also noticed another serious issue in that same video. Larriah was sitting in a moving car without being properly secured in her seat. For a child who had just turned 2, that is a major safety risk. Even a small accident could lead to serious harm. The comments reflected that concern as well, with one person asking, "Anyone gonna mention the car is in motion and she is not strapped in her car seat properly? Where I live, there was an accident recently and a 2-year-old was not restrained and he was being taken to a children's hospital with an exposed cranium. People never think it is a big deal until something happens to them." While Tisha's actions are very questionable and concerning, there is no massive controversy or backlash from the internet except for the few people who already noticed the pattern. But this would change in February of 2025 when Tisha posted her daughter dancing to the viral song Boots on the Ground, which would make Larriah a mainstream TikTok star and even lead her to get invited to a famous TV show. At this point, it's very clear that Larriah is a smart and energetic kid who loves to dance, that on its own would be a great and normal thing if the dances she was doing were typical kid dances. But that's not really the case. A lot of the dances she performs, including the viral Boots on the Ground dance, include moves that are not meant for children, like shaking her body in ways that feel too grown for her age. Anyone can see how uncomfortable that is for a 4-year-old, but Tisha doesn't seem to slow down or rethink it. Instead, she keeps pushing forward, promoting her daughter even more, which eventually leads to Larriah being featured on a well-known TV show, The Jennifer Hudson Show. On the show, Larriah dances alongside the hosts and again performs some of those same questionable moves, all while the camera zooms in closely on her body. And this isn't just a small moment being shared with family or close friends. This is being shown to huge audiences. One of her TikTok videos alone pulled in over 20 million views, meaning millions of people are watching and engaging with this kind of content. Larriah became so popular that even the artist behind the Boots on the Ground song, Douglas Furtick, started sharing her videos. Eventually, he even made TikToks with her, and she appeared in the official music video for the song. Naturally, a lot of people online did not take this lightly. Many were upset and started calling Tisha out, saying that a child should not be doing these kinds of dances or being put in these situations. The concern wasn't just about the dancing itself, but about what kind of attention it could attract. And that brings up another serious issue. Platforms like TikTok have a wide audience, and not everyone watching has good intentions. By putting a child in content like this, especially when it starts going viral, it can attract the wrong kind of people. That's what many viewers were worried about. But when Tisha responded to the criticism, she brushed it off, basically saying that bad people will exist no matter what, so it doesn't matter what she posts.
Then y'all come out five more gonna be a time. I protect my.
That response didn't sit well with people. Many felt like it missed the point completely. The concern wasn't just that bad people exist, but that posting certain kinds of content can increase attention from them. Instead of thinking about that risk, Tisha seemed more focused on defending herself, even calling critics haters and dismissing their concerns. Even though Tisha and her supporters often say these videos are just sweet, fun moments between a mother and her daughter, things started to look different as her page grew. After going viral and gaining over 1 million followers, it became harder to ignore the pattern. Tisha started using her child for money and attention, It starts with promoting Lariah for paid bookings, where a 4-year-old is expected to show up at events and perform dances like it's her job. From there, it only grows. She is constantly being booked for events, many of them organized by people they don't even know, all to bring in more money and more exposure. And the worst part is that most of these events are not even meant for kids. A few of them take place in nightclub-type environments, which is honestly shocking for someone that young to be around. At this point, it stops feeling like fun or casual content and starts to feel like pressure, where a child is being pushed into situations that don't match her age at all. Lariah isn't just dancing either, she's being pushed into meet and greets with large crowds of people who recognize her from TikTok, where she has to interact, pose, and entertain like a full-on influencer. That alone would be overwhelming for most adults, so for a 4-year-old, it's a lot. And it gets even more uncomfortable when you look at what's happening during these meetups. Random adults, including men she has never met before, are picking her up and getting very close to her like it's completely normal. That raises serious safety concerns when you consider how young she is, and the fact that not everyone in those crowds can be trusted. Situations like that should be handled with extreme care, but it doesn't seem like those risks are being taken seriously. On top of that, this isn't just occasional, it's constant. Between all the events and the non-stop TikTok dancing videos, Lariah's schedule looks more like a full-time job than a childhood. Instead of spending her time playing, learning, and just being a kid with others her age, she's always working, always performing. And through all of this, Tisha doesn't seem to slow down or reconsider anything, like the money and attention matter more than her child's well-being. While everything we have seen so far is more than enough to show how depraved Tisha is, unfortunately, this is not where the story ends. Tisha would post a video of her daughter in a red dress while a song that is clearly not appropriate for kids plays in the background, and the internet reacts almost immediately. Backlash gets so intense that she ends up deleting the video. In this clip, Lariah is dressed up to look like an adult woman, wearing a red dress, heels, and even a wig. She is not just standing there playing around either, she is dancing to the music, and the lyrics of that song are clearly meant for grown women and carry a very adult tone. Now, to be fair, kids dressing up like adults is not unusual. A lot of children play pretend, wear their parents' clothes, and copy what they see. That by itself is not the issue. The problem is the way Lariah is dancing in this video. That is where it crosses the line and becomes uncomfortable to watch. If something like this happened in private without a camera, it might still feel a bit off, but it would stay within a family setting. Instead, this is being recorded and posted online for millions of people to see, judge, and share. That changes the situation completely. The internet does not take this lightly at all. People react very aggressively, criticizing Tisha's behavior and calling her out across the different platforms. Many TikTok users start making videos about it, and some even go as far as calling for CPS to step in and look into the situation, saying this kind of exposure is not safe for a child.
That is adult music. Put on your red dress. I really genuinely want to know, where is her father? I really pray for protection over that baby because she doesn't know any better. She's just doing what she's being taught.
And just when things already look bad, another controversy comes in. Around May 2025, rumors started spreading online claiming that Tisha created an OnlyFans account connected to her daughter. This immediately raises a lot of concern and confusion, and people begin questioning how far things have gone.
But to then go onto OnlyFans, now we know you can have an account without doing risque things. The thing about it is people can pay you to request certain videos. That is 1000% what that mother is doing.
Now, having an OnlyFans account by itself is not automatically wrong, since some influencers use it for paid content that is not always extreme, but the reality is that the platform is widely known for content. Because of that, the idea of a 4-year-old child being linked to anything like that is not just questionable, it crosses into something very serious and disturbing. It is not even comparable to TikTok dancing at that point. At the same time, there is no clear proof that this OnlyFans account actually existed. It is also not clear where the rumor originally started. But because of the pattern people have already seen from Tisha's content, many were quick to believe it. That says a lot on its own. When people can easily believe something like that, it shows how much trust has already been lost. As the rumor spreads, the situation escalates even further. People become so concerned that they report it, and eventually CPS gets contacted to investigate what is going on.
Who called CPS on Miss Shirley mama? Guilty. I didn't know her mama was gonna get on live crashing out afterwards. And quite frankly, I don't give a damn. On my mama, I ain't never had this many people mad at me at one time in my life. I'm not even gonna lie, I was already scared for the little girl while she was doing boots on the ground, goddammit. But then I saw that little Johnny Gill put on your red dress and your high heel videos, and nah, man, I picked up my phone immediately.
Authorities take the situation seriously enough to show up and check on Tisha in her home. That level of response shows how far things have gone at this point. Tisha reacts by going live on Facebook, clearly frustrated and angry, and starts addressing the situation directly. She claims that people are misunderstanding everything, and explains that what people thought was an OnlyFans account was actually just a Facebook page made for Lariah's fans. While it is true that the OnlyFans claim does not have solid proof behind it, that does not fully clear the situation either. The Facebook fan page, now renamed Ms. Shirley's Dance Universe, did not originally include include Dance Universe in its title before the backlash and people started calling CPS, which makes the sudden name change stand out even more. And even though Tisha didn't actually create an OnlyFans page, it is very clear that she named this Facebook page that way on purpose to create drama and buzz, so she could get more clout and bring more attention to herself. And it worked. The page has now grown to over 110,000 followers, which shows that the controversy itself helped boost her platform even more. In her response on Facebook, Tisha completely disregarded people's concerns, calling them low-life haters instead of actually addressing what they were worried about. At the same time, she started saying things that didn't make much sense, like claiming that the police who came to investigate wanted to take pictures with her daughter. That just doesn't add up. No officer responding to something as serious as a child safety concern is going to treat it like a fan moment and ask for pictures. It sounds made up and only makes her response look less credible.
Y'all know we got to the police, so you know what the police wanted to do? Take pictures with Miss Shirley. They wanted to take pictures, but they had to do their job, because a sick called up there.
But it gets worse. Instead of directly responding to the allegations or even trying to explain her actions clearly, Tisha goes off on unrelated points. She starts talking about how she is the sweetest person, how she had money before her daughter became famous, and how she built everything from the ground up.
I got this house right here built from the ground up 10 years ago. I was 20-something. I'm 40. So I got it built when I was like 29. Make it make sense.
None of that actually addresses the issue people are raising. Nobody asked for that. It comes off like she is trying to shift the focus away from the real problem. On top of that, she starts speaking badly about other people, and even goes as far as insulting their mothers, which just makes the whole situation more heated and unnecessary.
Before boots on the ground, she been selling lemonade. My oldest one got an ice cream truck parked in the backyard. I got a whole store bill that I just bought back in November. Don't nobody just know about it. It's a whole custom building that I purchased to do hair in my backyard. But y'all don't know because I ain't posted did it.
And while Tisha is the one responsible for putting her child online and pushing her into all of this for money and attention, she then turns around and blames the critics. She acts like the people calling her out are the reason her child is not living a normal life, which doesn't make sense. She is the one who introduced her daughter to social media in the first place, and continues to post her constantly. She is the one booking her for events, making her dance, and taking her to places that are not appropriate for a child. The responsibility falls on her, not on the people reacting to what they see.
My baby can't even have no regular childhood, enjoy her childhood, because it's sick out there like y'all that ain't got going for yourself.
And not only that, but in the same response video, Tisha is clearly losing control. She is shouting, almost cursing in between her sentences, and speaking in a very aggressive tone. What makes it worse is that all of this is happening while Laraya is right there in the background listening. You can even hear her reacting and repeating things, almost agreeing with what her mother is saying. That is a serious problem. A 4-year-old is going to copy what they hear, and exposing her to that kind of language and behavior increases the chances that she will repeat it later, whether it is at school or around other kids. That kind of environment directly affects how a child speaks and acts, and it shows again that there is very little thought being given to long-term impact. And this is not the only time that Tisha was careless with her words in front of Laraya. If anything, there are hundreds of moments like this, but one that really stood out and made a lot of people upset was when Tisha was singing and dancing alongside her daughter to a song that says X and all while pointing to those areas with her hands. While Tisha has received a lot of backlash from the internet, with people on TikTok constantly making videos criticizing her, and even big YouTube channels calling her out for her behavior, she still didn't stop. She continued posting videos of her daughter singing and dancing to songs that are very inappropriate for her age. However, recently Tisha seems to have backed off a little. She has reduced the number of videos she uploads on TikTok, and started posting other types of content, like normal vlogs showing Laraya doing regular day-to-day activities like a typical kid. Even with that, the impact of Tisha's actions on her daughter, especially in the future, is likely to be serious. No matter what she does now, she cannot fully avoid the consequences. Being exposed like this on the internet from such a young age takes away the child's ability to choose a private life later on. And the saddest part is that this situation was created by the very person who was supposed to protect her.